Are you ready, Patrick?
Absolutely.
Man, that was sexy.
Okay. Welcome. And I can confirm that we are already live on Facebook. How's it looking on your side, Patrick?
Nothing yet.
Oh, no.
Yes, we're live.
Okay. We're both live and alive and survived. So, welcome to our Swedish listeners and maybe some US listeners. The reason why we're speaking English or American is because we're joined by our cool dudes at the Casual Preppers podcast. Welcome, Cam and Coby.
What is up, Sweden?
Yeah.
How's it going over there?
It's great.
Yeah,
It's great.
you guys are
It's
still
fun.
kicking along. Everything's all right.
Yeah,
Everything's all right.
still
Friday
alive.
evening.
Yeah, we've been worried about you. Cam and I have been up at night, kind of late,
Yeah.
just kind of thinking about you guys, making sure everything's all right. You know, but you got a beer in hand, you got a Pepsi Max. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you guys are living the
seems
life.
Pretty normal.
Yes.
Pretty normal.
Yeah. And so today we want to talk a bit about, none of us are experts in war, so we're not going to talk about war, not at all.
Good.
Thank
But-
goodness.
Because we are not.
But we see a similarity between the States and Sweden when it comes to the war in Europe. Is you're much more farther away from the war, but we want to talk a little bit about the indirect consequences that we see now. Just the first question, because you guys, you've done a lot of podcasts, and we know, since we talked to you last time, we know that you actually spend some time with investigating and, digging into the subjects you're supposed to talk about. So have you done any research into how to prepare for war in a prepper way?
Yeah, we have. We recently did an episode specifically about the Russian conflict, so we did quite a bit of research into that one. And then not too long ago, we did one basically it was called World War III. So basically, what would a World War III look like? How would you prepare for it? And that we did a lot of research on that one. It felt like, right?
Yeah. That was kind of at the time North Korea was sending some, ballistic missiles towards Japan and in the Sea of Japan. And so we were like, that's a realistic threat. Why don't we dig into that a little bit more for, whoever's listening. So
Yeah, yeah, but that's interesting. And before we delve deeper into that, I just want to say for you people listening, if you're Swedish or English or American or wherever you are, you're welcome to comment in Facebook, and you're welcome to comment on YouTube if you have questions, and you can also participate. Call in live via the podcast engine Riverside. So you need to go to the site. I think we have that in a comment in this stream, but you need to go to the site vardagsprepping.se and check how you can participate. So
Cool.
So what have you learned from your finding? What did you find? How can we prepare? Is it different from preparing for anything else, or what do you think?
In my mind, almost every prepping situation kind of comes back to the basics. And I try and keep it as simple as possible because people like to really, really complicate a lot of these things. And obviously our name is Casual Preppers. We do this we're not experts. We're not doing this every second of every day. It doesn't take over our lives. And I feel like that's kind of the best approach when you're trying to prepare. And if you go at most situations with the basics in mind, it just feels like you're going to be okay most of the time. There's going to be some very specific things per situation. Obviously, if aliens are coming, you're going to have a very specific way to prepare for that. If it's a cyber war, you're going to have a very specific things that you're going to have to prepare for that. But in almost every single situation, if you are looking at your food supplies, if you are looking at water, if you are looking at making sure that you have medicines and you're financially prepared and all those types of things, you're going to be 95% prepared for any situation. So for me, most of the time, it's largely the same thing that you're going to be doing in each of these scenarios. And obviously, war brings some very specific things that you have to worry about. But most of the time, that's if you're really, really close to the situation, you know, or if it's kind of a worldwide conflict. But for me, I keep it simple, man. I know I got to have food. I know I have to have water. I know I have to have meds. I know I need to keep my body healthy and strong. And I know I have to have money to purchase things. So that's kind of how I look at most situations. But I'm sure there's very specific things. Cam probably has
very
some
specific things.
Yeah.
That I'm going to, yeah. No, I agree too. I mean, we're not vets. You know, we haven't been to war. Our country doesn't require that we do any training like some other countries do. And so, you know, we're very much casual about all the aspects of war. And so I think some of the differences during times like this or with threats is kind of being able to interpret news and different things like that. Because, I don't know, you can really get pulled one way or another that can mess up the way that you are, you know, prepared both you know, at home and storage and foods. You can go crazy with that, but you also get pretty uneasy and make poor decisions. So I think just being able to kind of be up on the news and understand where you need to go to different sources and just be cautious, but really, like Coby said, I mean, the same for me is it's going to come down to the basic stuff of what's going to keep you in your, you know, world and your home kind of safe, of just food, water, shelter, knowing those around you and their plans, and just kind of go off that. You're not going to be slowly building a tank in your backyard if somebody's there's no need to go more extreme
most of the time.
Yeah,
right?
most of the time. But, you know, and we'll talk a little further later, I'm sure, about some of these other little key differences during this kind of thing.
Right. Patrick, have you done any research
about war and prepping for war, or the history of war, or I've read about a lot about
teacher,
war.
Right?
Yes, I'm a teacher, and I've read a lot about war, but not so much about prepping for war. But the basic needs are the same, as you say. And we can prepare for different scenarios, but always the basic needs. Always come back to that.
Yeah.
Then in the war, maybe the shelter thing is something different.
And I was also thinking about bugging out will have a more prominent role, that you need to think about it if war comes to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at the people in Ukraine, right? That, I mean, there were so many people, millions that had to bug out in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And probably the ones that had a plan beforehand were the ones that got out the earliest and the safest. And so, yes, I think if the war is getting close to you, your bug out plan does come into play a little bit more.
Yeah. When we did our World War episode, we kind of talked about past wars like World War II and World War I, and where the economy and like people had to consider, you know, there's rationing and all that stuff. So
yeah,
looking to those past events of what both wars had in common, I'm sure you would see a World War III type scenario be somewhat similar.
Yeah, I remember my mom was she was a child or maybe a youth during World War II, and Patrick, what do you call ransonering? Rationing.
Yes.
Do you call it when you ration?
Rationing.
Rationing. So that was a big. I think that from her stories, that was a big thing. They didn't have coffee, so they had to come up with something else that almost tasted like coffee, but was not that good. But I think
right.
yeah. But that was I mean that was for a long period of time as well. And for a country that was supposed to be neutral. But that actually, it's kind of scary because when it comes to this huge conflicts, it doesn't matter which side you're on, you're going to suffer anyway in some shape or form.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the entire world is suffering it when you look at the effects that have sort of cascaded from the event, you know. Largely it's economic and it's, you know, supply chain issues and things like that, but it's going to continue and it could get worse. Who knows, you know?
Yeah.
What effects do you see in the US?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've had some economic issues recently, and I don't know if it's not necessarily just always directly from this Ukraine conflict, but we see what fuel is doing, and that's been pretty tough on a lot of people across the U.S. You know, highest prices we've had in decades, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting insane. It's actually affecting us. Usually, you know, a little bit of price fluctuation, I don't really even notice it, but it's to the point now where I'm thinking about it. I'm like, man, I shouldn't take this trip, or if I'm going into town, I need to really think about
going in less.
Yeah, going in less and being more efficient with my trips and things like that because the cost is so high. So I think that's one of those things that is really affecting us is the fuel prices. You know, there's still supply chain issues, things. I mean, and we're sending a ton of money over there, a ton. I mean, not me and Cam, but the government, the U.S. government, is sending billions of dollars over there. So there's going to be a long-term effect on us when we're already in debt up to our eyeballs. So those are a few things. I'm sure there's a whole bunch more. Right, Cameron?
The effect, like even building. There's, I mean, a housing problem kind of in the U.S. where the materials are super expensive. It's driving home, you know, the rates, and not necessarily are we in a bubble like we were that affected us hugely back in the early 2000s, but it is. I mean, it's driving issues with loans, it's building costs and basic materials, and so it's just affecting all aspects of, you know, people's lives. Some may not notice it as much or choose to ignore it, but it's definitely there, and it's not getting any better.
Yeah, and I don't think it's really helped the political tension side of things. I kind of figured it would bring everybody together a little bit, and it felt like it did maybe for a minute, but now it just seems like the extremes on both sides are even going at each other harder, you know, due to this conflict because of whatever political reasonings, obviously. But so that's definitely affecting us as well. But I've even seen it like in the prepper community. Cam mentioned something earlier about kind of being able to parse out what's happening in the news and what's happening with people's opinions on the war and what you should be doing and all those types of things. And in the prepping media, it's I feel like it's something that makes me kind of sad because you look over certain large prepping YouTube channels, and it is nothing but just doom and gloom, and we're all gonna die. You better click on this link because if you're not prepping, if you're not buying this stuff, we're all dead soon, right? And it is like never ending. I mean, it makes me kind of sad for the prepper community because I think it gets people. It scares people, yeah, and it makes people super stressed out, and they get all this anxiety, and it's like, oh my gosh, I need to go buy. I need to spend every bit of money I have to get ready for this thing that's coming when nobody knows what's happening, right? It's just that part is pretty tough. So I think as a prepper, and especially as a casual prepper, like kind of the way that we look at things, you have to look at it, take it with a grain of salt, do what you do, and don't get too deep to where you kind of get underwater. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I know what YouTube channel you're talking about. It's a neighboring country to you, right?
Yeah. You know.
Yeah, we know.
We actually have a comment on Swedish in Sweden from Anders, who wants you to do the Swedish voices. Can you do the Swedish voices?
I've never tried a Swedish accent.
No.
Oh my gosh.
We're just expert Russian.
Yeah, we're great with Russian. We're great with
his like
hillbilly. We're great with hillbilly, obviously.
We've got that down.
I'm gonna have to work on that one. I'm gonna have to go listen to some Swedish accents and see what I could do, because
I don't know. You guys don't it's crazy. It's a lot more clear English than most other countries.
I'm sorry, Anders. We're gonna have to work on that one, but we will work on it, and maybe we'll bring it out on the next episode when we're with these guys.
I don't know.
Maybe we'll figure something out for you to say again.
Okay, maybe that'll work.
Yeah, because you did the outro for the podcast. Very good.
That's right, we did.
Yeah. All right. But can you tell us a little bit about how the war is pictured in American media? Because in Sweden we can follow or read from certain people, which shows one side, and then we can go to the state-owned public media and see something else.
Right.
How? So, what's your opinion? If you look
so
at the
I'm gonna let Cam take most of this, but I have been doing a little bit of a news detox for about the past month or so. I've been trying to stay away from it as much as possible. So I'm not the best person to ask on this, because I really haven't been consuming a whole lot of it. I just felt like I was getting, it was depressing me. It was making me anxiety ridden. I was like, why am I doing this to myself? As long as I have kind of a basic knowledge of what's going on, I should be okay. So I've been sort of detoxing. Cam has been paying more attention to the things that have gone on. So I'm going to let him...
Only for our mad world.
Yeah, I'm going to let him take that one a little more than I.
Yeah, like so TikTok, obviously I'm not taking news from there, but I know they were posting like a lot of past like conflicts that had nothing to do with Ukraine and Russia. And people were freaking out like, wow, look at this, it's going on. And it was all it was completely different time and event, and a lot of people believe that. It's sad. Like United States, I don't know how it is in Sweden, but a lot of people like believe everything that's happening on social media, and it's pretty depressing. But also like our regular like media news, like a lot of it has to do with war crimes that Russia are committing, and Ukraine, most of the statements from the Ukrainian president and the people and their suffering, like you don't hear much at all about the Russian side. And I know that the people there are suffering too. I mean, it's unfortunate that we don't hear that as much. And in party views, like, I don't really care. But at the same time, it's not fair to them. Germany went through that same thing in World War II. And I think that's happening to where it's heavily, that Ukraine is the only one suffering, and it's not fully that way. I mean, the Russian people, and I don't even know how true this is, but some of the interpreted or the intercepted messages, or that a lot of the Russian military don't want anything to do with it either. And it's just, so we get a big mix, but obviously it's heavily in favor of Ukraine and their suffering, and obviously we do feel for them, but it sucks for both sides. I feel terrible for how they all have to suffer this way. So, I
mean, the ordinary people, they are the ones suffering.
Civilians on all sides.
So, what is it like over there for you guys? How is it perceived in the media?
Patrick, please tell me, because I'm on a detox as well. Well,
I'm on a detox. Yeah. It's pretty much the same as you see. It's not much about Russia.
No,
only about the Russian losses.
Yeah.
So there's a one-way side. We don't hear much about the Ukraine losses.
No, so we don't. Same here.
That's pretty bad. That's not giving us a total picture.
But I guess Russia and the Kremlin, they are not that outgoing, I guess.
Yeah, right. They keep things pretty close.
Yeah.
Another thing about your media, how is the Sweden's application to NATO?
That's been media? Yeah. I mean, that's been some pretty recent stuff in the last week or two that I've seen. Like, I knew that some countries were probably going to consider NATO more, and I mean, I haven't heard a lot. I just knew that Sweden and several other countries were considering too, or have. And like I feel like that's a great thing. I mean, it to me shows that more, countries in general want peace, and I think that's awesome to see. So, I mean, I haven't heard a lot, but I know that a lot of big, countries are joining, and I think that's great, or wanting to, or applying, or however that works.
Yeah, like I said, I wish I had been listening to the opinion makers and stuff in the media. I just haven't heard a whole lot about how people are viewing it,
I haven't either.
So I just don't have a lot of information there. Again, it's kind of weird that I'm a prepper as well as somebody in the prepper media, and I'm pretty much avoiding the news. It makes it a little tough for some of the stuff we do, but again, it all comes back to the basics. As long as I know what's going on and I'm alerted to the big things that are happening, I'm okay. I feel like it's worth it for my mental health at this point to stop worrying about kind of every tiny little thing that's happening across the globe, you know?
And I have a brother-in-law that's very much the opposite. He's saying we're not getting fed like clear good news, and what's happening over there is not at all what we know. And I'm like, well, where are you getting your resources? But like, where are you getting your sources on all these things? And he doesn't really have anything to back it up, but he's just like, it's not what it seems. It's I'm like, okay, well, what is it?
Yeah, and there's a lot of people like that.
And there's quite a few that kind of are on the extreme side of like, no, they're not doing what you think. And I'm like,
it's all a conspiracy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, okay, we're far away. And
like we love conspiracies more than anybody, but it's hard to.
That one's hard to
Nobody
swallow.
knows, So I think it's just do what we do, and keep rolling.
Yeah, but I think that's quite sound, because you can't. I don't know, but you should be preparing for the things that you actually have control of.
Yes.
And you should stop being afraid of things you don't have control of.
That's very stoic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's stoic philosophy to a T right there. I've been really getting into that this year, and that's the thing. It's like, worry about the things that you control, and if you don't control about it, just stop worrying about it. You have no control. There's no reason to take your mind, your resources, and your energy towards it. Just do what you do what you can affect, and move on. I like that. That's good.
Do you share my view, Patrick?
Absolutely. We have discussed that a lot of times.
Yeah. I think we have some comments on YouTube, don't
Sweet.
we? Not about war, but about something else.
About the new virus, monkeypox.
Monkeypox. I saw that.
Yes. Do you
Well, I
have
think
any
talking about your
comments
computer,
about
you're
that?
like, I got a new virus on my computer.
Yeah. Cyber war has
It's
started
another
in
one
Sweden.
today.
So what do you think about the monkeypox? Except that it sounds like a dance song.
Man, I just saw something about it this morning. Again, like I said,
I
I'm
hadn't
not paying
even
a lot of
heard about
attention.
it. So
That's something that
Sounds
was usually
not fun.
confined to Africa, right? And now it's kind of spreading outside. That's all. That's like the basics that I know. Again, what do you do? There's nothing you can do about it other than continue to do what you do. If you know that somebody has monkeypox, don't go in the bedroom with them. What do you say about it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I hope it doesn't require masks. 'Cause,
Oh yeah,
man,
I'm done with that.
the whole country will melt down if that.
That's true, huh? I don't even know what monkeypox is. Do you?
No,
Yeah.
they're pox that form on monkeys.
Yeah, I don't know.
Patrick,
far
do you
as I
know?
know.
Is it
I have-
lethal?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, I
So
don't
no
know
one
about
knows.
anything.
We're
I
just-
actually haven't even heard about that.
No.
I'll have to look into that a little bit.
But
think
let's keep away from it then.
Yeah. Listen, I'm against it. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
I don't like monkeypox. Never have.
Put that down for the next podcast topic. Monkeypox. Pretty basic name.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, today was the first day we heard about it.
Is it okay? I was gonna say, like, I saw something this morning, but it's a cousin of smallpox.
I was gonna say it has
Great.
to be similar stuff to that.
Interesting. Well, we'll see how that goes.
Mm.
Just add it to the list.
Add it to the list. 2022 is looking awesome.
Yeah, I would love it, man.
So I think we have a hypothetical question where you need to challenge yourselves.
Oh, great.
Oh, no. What would you do if a war started close to you and was threatening you?
Man, that is such a good question. So obviously I would continue to prep like I am. It would still be about food, water, meds, keeping myself physically fit, mentally fit, all those types of things. But I think like we talked about earlier, you've got to really have a very good honed in bug out plan. You have to be ready to leave at a moment's notice and you know, before things get too crazy in your area. So that's basically all I would do. I would continue to prep like I was, and I would have a bug out plan with options A, B, C, and D as this thing is unfolding and going, so that I'm ready to get out at a moment's notice. That would be my focus.
Yeah.
How about you, Cameron?
I think the thing for me would be, it depends a ton on where you're located. Like, and again, I don't know for sure how accurate all the news is from Ukraine, but you look at those key, like, cities that they're focusing on. If I lived, you know, on the coast or somewhere, that these bigger, more, you know, key points that they would want to take over, I would obviously be leaving those areas.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably consider a little more of my bug out plan, maybe more stealthy, maybe something that I could camo my truck or stay, you know, much more hidden and out of harm's way.
Red Dawn, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, really. That's kind of what I would think about is Red Dawn stuff.
Yeah.
But obviously, if I lived in a big city, New York City or something, I'd probably get out of those places because those are going to be strategic places that some country would probably want to take out.
Yeah. And we actually got some comments from Niklas who knows a bit about monkeypox.
Oh, great.
He said that
Cool.
it's
Thanks,
called
Nick.
orthopox 22, 10% lethal among children, and there is already a vaccine which came 2019.
Well, that's beautiful.
So let's
Why'd they bring it up?
let's
Just
take
kidding.
another vaccine.
Yeah, let's let's get another jab. We're good.
Every month you'll be getting a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Nick.
Now you talked about bug out. You two have done another podcast.
We
Is that
have.
That's right.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
Sure. It's called Bugging Out, and it's pretty self-explanatory. We talk about bugging out. This is something that, you know, when you're getting into prepping, it's one of the first things that a lot of early preppers, it draws them into the world of prepping because it's kind of exciting. It's kind of sexy. It's like I'm grabbing my stuff and I'm running into the woods, right? I mean, that's kind of the view of it. But we really wanted to get in and get down to the nitty gritty, like all the way down in and see, you know, what does it take? How should we build our plans? What should we be looking at for our bug out bags, for the gear in our bug out bags, for your bug out vehicle, for your locations and your routes and all of those things. And we kind of wanted to do it in a little bit more interesting way where it's more highly produced. So this is a 5-episode kind of mini series type thing. And it has voiceover, it has interviews, it has sound effects and music beds. And we have interviews from experts that actually know what they're talking about, not just us flapping our gums and we're just saying stupid stuff, you know. So and then actually in a couple of the episodes, Cam and I go on a simulated bug out. We took some recording devices, some audio recorders. We grabbed our gear and we bugged out, and we stayed the night at a possible bug out location. We talked about everything that we would be doing in this real situation, and we kind of just bring the listener along for the ride. Like, hey, this is what a overnight bug out might be like. So it was a really fun process. It was a lot of work. I don't know if we'll ever do it again, but we had a good time making it.
Yeah, it's kind of a huge eye opener for me to do the simulation and talk about. It's like, these things I thought would work well, and then when you throw in a more realistic approach, you
Yeah.
realize don't work very well.
Yeah.
And then some of the inside, details from experts, like simple things like carrying a filter with a bladder is way more effective than or treating water along the way rather than assuming, I'll just fill up this jug and carry it with me. And they're just little details that you pick up from that were super helpful for us that have been talking about it forever, but you learn little details that make it way better for you.
Yeah, and just the act of going out and simulating what it might be like, I think is really eye-opening for a lot of people. A lot of, you've made a plan and you have a bag and you think this is what I'm going to do, but until you actually grab that stuff, put it on your back, start hiking and actually go through with it, you don't know how well your gear works. You don't know, any of those things. So
yeah, the middle of us going up there, it doesn't rain a lot here, and
Hardly
it
ever.
was like just super downpour. Like the roads looked like rivers, and I'm like, this would be exactly what would happen during a bug out. You have all this planned out, and then you're dealing with like a monsoon type scenario. So it was eye opening for sure for even us.
Yeah.
Did you get some comment from the listeners about the bugging out?
We did, and it was mostly good.
Some were a little bit like, this isn't what you guys typically do, because it wasn't quite as lighthearted as we do everything else.
Yeah.
And so they were a little bit thrown off by that, but a lot really liked it.
Yeah, I mean it's a completely different thing than what casual preppers is. Casual preppers is a casual conversation between two guys making fun of pretty much everything we talk about. That's
Basement banter.
Yeah, that's just what we do. But this is not that. We took this pretty seriously, and it was very well produced. I felt like, anyways, and it was very kind of to the point. And some people, it kind of rubbed them the wrong way because that's not the casual preppers that they know. So, but most people, 95%, like, oh, that's fantastic. Thanks for the 5 episodes.
Yeah. I listened through all of them, and I can agree. It was really, it was interesting to hear the experts, but I mostly liked actually your actual bugging out, because and I think that's so very important, not only to have a plan, but actually to execute it during normal circumstances. Just so you see, okay, the road that I was looking at on the map, does it actually exist anymore? Is there some construction work going on, or what's happening? So and I've done two of those from work now.
Awesome.
And it gives you also another lay of the land, that you actually are there in the situations you would be in on foot or on a bike. It's much more. It gives you much more realization of the environment when you're not in your car.
For sure. And it also just gives you kind of peace of mind. Like, I've been through it. I've walked, I've done it. I've grabbed my bag. I've gone out to the woods. This is what I'm going to do. So you feel a little bit better about your situation going into it. If it's the first time going out to this camping spot or your bug out location when the world is burning down, it's not going to be a fun thing to do, but at least you've done it somewhat before, and you know a little bit about what to expect, so it'll put your mind at least a little bit more at ease.
As exciting as it sounds, and the gear and all that, both of us were like, I'm glad to go back home and be comfortable. It's not very fun to imagine having to do that for 3, 4, 5 days, and be also scared of what's going on outside of
monkeypox outbreak.
Monkeypox.
All right. So you would do, Patrick, have you, I have another question around the topic about war starting close to you. So when this war in Ukraine started, have you escalated your prepping, or is it just like it used to be, or have you done anything extra?
I've like focused more on.
I was looking at him like, you're gonna answer.
I was like, I wasn't wanting to interrupt anybody. The difference that I've made with this whole thing is kind of focusing on the not so readily available or possible loss of like the perishable goods. Like I've gotten more powdered milk and like things that go along with your other preps that just make life more comfortable and more convenient. I've kind of focused a little more there instead of like, I feel I've always focused on the food and water aspect, but now I'm looking at like my kids do not like cereal without milk. We've tried almond milk and it's like going with powdered milk, going with powdered eggs, like looking at those things that are available now that can be used. Not, I don't want to dig into my 25-year shelf life stuff if I don't have to, but I also know that those perishable goods are going to go fast and grocery stores are going to be chaotic if anything worsens. So I'm like kind of finding that middle ground of powdered milk and powdered eggs and powdered water. You add it to water. No, I'm just kidding. But like those are the things that I've changed up recently just because of the way things aren't, they're just not as available. Some of the things that I got, I don't know, just a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And so just tweaked it a little that way and knowing that I don't want to end up being so dependent on the grocery stores and the goods right now, being a little on the middle ground of 2 week to 1 month preparedness rather than just short term and long term. So
yeah, I think that's right on. I've been working on my freezer, making sure that thing is full all the time with those sort of middle ground, 3 to 6 month to a year type food stuff. But also with a lot of the effects we've been seeing have been economic, right? And so that's something I've been thinking about. So I've been a little bit more focused on making sure I have cash on hand. I've been more focused on budgeting and things like that, just because it's getting harder and harder economically. And so I think it makes sense to focus on those things a little more, and also with fuel being the way it is, making sure that I've got some fuel stored at home and I'm cycling through those like I should. I've been trying to be more focused on that. And then just being more focused on myself, being a better person, being in shape and being mentally there. That's kind of where my detox comes from. I feel like when times get hard, you got to be better. So that's been something I've been focusing on a little bit too.
You do seem better.
I do. I feel like I'm
much better.
I'm like, I was at like a 7, but I'm like an 8.5 now probably, right?
I'm so close to a 10.
Yeah, that's just like I'm inching up there. Yeah.
Super noticeable.
Once I get abs, I think I'm going to be like a 9, Yeah. That 6-pack, I think that's going to do it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. I'm glad Martin thinks so.
I don't have a 6-pack. I have a 2-pack. 2-pack.
Tupac.
Tupac. Patrick, have you done anything? Because we're a bit closer to the crisis. Have you been stepping up your prepping?
Not directly.
Oh, you're a 9 already.
No,
You're already
I'm
set.
9.
You're already set.
But I'm working on my garden,
Oh, that's great.
building a greenhouse.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's my upscaling.
I think that's pretty dang good. I mean, that's more than I'm doing. So
I tilled, and then
Did
that's
you?
all I've done. I haven't planted.
Getting
I
there.
haven't done anything else.
well, it's snowing today, so
Yeah, our weather's
it
been
snowing?
really weird.
yeah, it's snowing today.
We've had
Yesterday was like 80 something
yeah,
degrees.
it was
Today's
super hot,
high 40s.
and now we got a little light snow this morning.
Yeah.
It's super weird. Or maybe it's fallout. I don't know.
who knows?
I haven't been watching the news.
We maybe
this
hit a
morning.
black hole and we're in some other dimension at this point.
Yeah.
I've started thinking more like Patrick, thinking more about educating myself in the olden days, things you knew then. So I live in an apartment, so I've actually started growing potatoes on the balcony in buckets, just to get the know of how does a potato work? How does it work? You put it in soil and it grows. No, but I think that's actually quite important that we start learning those old things as well, because I always scare people, but I think we're actually in the Teotwaki, the end of the world as we know it, but not the apocalypse, but rather the comfortable, just in time. I can get everything I want when I want it the day after. I think we won't be seeing that for quite a while. So I think it's good to start learning old things, if I may say so.
For sure.
And then, as you said, also thinking about economics, my household economics, trying to think about, if I lose my job, what to do?
Get a new job.
Yeah. But things like that. So, and I think, I don't know, I just want to go back to the threat of Russia, because they said that if Sweden applies to join NATO, we will see, I think he basically said we will see hell, like we've never seen it, or something like that, some preposterous statement.
Yeah.
I know.
But the thing is that, and I don't know if we talked about this last time, but we are already, we can see right now that Russia has been attacking us for years, but not physically, but rather cyber. How do you say that? Cyber cyber attacks and stuff like that. And I think, Patrick, was it there was some person high up in the security thing, Sweden, that said that what we could expect is actually cyber attacks against our electricity infrastructure, our payment structure. As you know, we're almost 100% digitalized when it comes to money. So I've been thinking a lot about that.
Well, you can start trading potatoes now.
Yeah, I can.
You needed to.
I think I'll have like 20 potatoes. That'll be worth a lot of
gold, man. Straight gold.
No, but I think that's. Are you do you know anything about Russia attacking you through like cyber attacks?
Well, I think it's constant.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it's a constant thing. And when we did that World War III episode, it's been quite a while, but that was one of the big focuses, just because war isn't what it used to be, you know. A lot of things are just going out. I mean, we could see with this war how ineffective a lot of these tanks are. I mean, just things are changing, right? And I think the cyber warfare aspects of it are becoming bigger and bigger. And if it ever was a World War III, that is going to be a large aspect of the way that countries fight each other is through cyber war, and it's devastating if it's successful. And so you have to be diligent in understanding what that means for you, what it means for your country, and what it means for your everyday life, because it could be devastating, right? I mean,
I think Windows updates were bad.
Yeah.
Now, can you imagine?
Yeah, just imagine.
Every hour you're going to have to restart your computer.
But like you were saying, and anytime we pay for something, it's all electronic. You know, anytime all the transportation stuff is mostly electronic. All the all the medical stuff is electronic. There's just so much. Everything is power. You talked about the power grids. You know, do you have a nuclear power plant near you? That's a little bit of a scary proposition to think about too, right? So, yeah, that piece of it is pretty creepy when you think about it. When you get down and really think about cyber warfare, you know.
Yeah, and I actually listened to a Swedish podcast today that they had been doing some research into, I think it's called the Ukrainian IT army, where the Ukrainian, IT army is actually recruiting hacker activists or hacker groups to attack Russia. Yeah, and a lot of people are actually signing up to do that around the world, just to, you know, help doing DDoS or distributed denial of service attacks against Russia. So, and that's kind of scary as well, because do you know? I'm not pro Russia or anything, but I call them a simple person, but because you don't need to be a hacker, you just need to lend your computer for a while to make these attacks. And do you actually know what you're doing? No, you don't.
No.
So yeah.
No.
It's scary in all sorts of ways. This cyber warfare.
Yeah, any of the war is scary, you know.
It's crazy to think like your kids, they're going off to war and they're just in a polo and shorts going into the office to fight cybercrime.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think there's those little individual things we can all do. You know, there's Surfshark and different VPNs and things like that kind of keep your personal stuff safe. But once, I mean, we see constantly those big companies being attacked and it affects us. So.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of talk.
Yes.
And I don't know what question are we on now,
We're changing subject.
Ooh.
Okay.
A little bit more wacko.
Like Waco, Texas?
Yeah. No. Yeah. What would you try to survive? Zombies or aliens?
I'm going with aliens just because I feel like it's going to be a much more interesting way to die, probably. You know, with zombies, I'm getting eaten and it's over with. But with aliens, you don't know. You don't know. It could be some weird mist that goes up your nose and you just explode. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like the invasion's going to be a lot more interesting. There's going to be maybe spaceships or I don't know. I'm just kind of excited for it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going the opposite. Zombies
You're going
seem
zombies.
a little more predictable.
Okay.
Technology that we have now is going to probably be useful. I don't know. You don't know with aliens.
I don't know. Ask Brad Pitt. It was
That's
pretty
a
tough for him.
wild card. Yeah, that's true.
He had a hard time.
But I don't know. I think everybody that does a little prepping has some excitement over the whole zombie apocalypse thing.
Yeah.
So it's something that we've seen in videos and watched movies on. We're like, all of us have a little bit of expertise when it comes to zombies. Aliens, who knows? That's a weird one. So
we did an episode called Surviving Aliens, I think, at one point. It was one of the funnest episodes I
that
think
was
we've
like
ever
one
done.
of the funnest. Talking about how their big long fingers can't open up locks. So maybe that's your biggest defense.
Yeah, just like those little master locks.
Got
with
those big 3 fingers. They can't like do the combinations.
Who knows? What about you guys? What would you pick?
Absolutely zombies.
Zombies.
Yes.
But why?
I think I know them.
Okay.
But I have no idea.
They're your neighbors, probably.
Maybe.
You know how to defeat them.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's
I'll
movies
go
that
for
teach you how
zombies
to
as well.
Okay, well, I'm alone in the aliens thing, apparently,
Yeah.
but...
You're pretty confident. I mean, you're almost level 10 in life.
Yeah,
So.
I just got to do some more sit-ups, and I'm ready for all of it, so...
You'll just flash your six-pack and they'll be
Yeah,
blinded.
one day. One day, I swear.
Oh, no, but I actually, me and Patrick, we had this discussion today about zombies. And I think we agree, we do agree that zombies are the apocalypse that we would prefer. Because zombies, they are like people, but you actually know what the zombies think or what they do. People you don't know.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. Right. Yeah, but is it going to be the fast zombies or the slow zombies? That's what I don't know. Because if it's the fast zombies, you can all just kiss your ass goodbye because you're not
way
beating
you're
that.
gonna
You
fight
can't
that.
beat it. I don't know.
I was thinking about the Walking Dead zombies.
Walking Dead.
Yeah, me too.
Slow,
That's what I
stupid.
pictured
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Sure. Yep.
Just be quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put a little zombie gut on you and you're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're fine. But what about because CNN, they had I think it was May 17th this year. They said a key lawmaker warns at UFO hearing, unidentified aerial phenomena are a potential national security threat. And there was some YouTube video showing an unidentified object. Did you see that?
I did, yeah.
Yeah?
I did see that. You know, I have no idea what's going on here.
I
It
don't
doesn't
either.
make any sense to me whatsoever, other than maybe the government knows more. Obviously, they know more, and they're just priming us. They're getting
Little
us
bits of
ready
info.
to release some big thing, and I don't know what that big thing is, but you know, the end of 2022 or something, Joe Biden's going to come up to the podium and say, "Well, I'm an alien" or something. I don't know what it's going to be, but
He'll
it's
be
gonna
eating a
big.
mouse like this.
Yeah, exactly. Eating a mouse,
being
petting
a
his
lizard.
dog, and his dog starts talking or something. I don't know what it's going to be. What do you think
Yeah.
about the whole UFO thing, Cameron?
I think it's exciting. I think it's funny. We always freak out and say it's a national security threat. We don't know that, and like I know the unknown is a scary thing, but
I think it
I'm
might
exci-
just be
I'm
DJI's new drone for next year.
probably
you know.
it's about to release.
Yeah,
It's a
The Mini,
leak.
the Mini 4.
the Mini 4. Yeah, we have no idea. Who knows? It's fun though. At least it's interesting news.
Yeah.
I'm like, why not? We got everything else going on.
Yeah,
This is the best time for aliens to reveal themselves.
then we don't have to watch the Johnny Depp trial anymore.
Yeah, maybe they want to, and things keep happening. They're like, okay, we're gonna show ourselves. Oh, it's a war now. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, there's too much going on.
Go down there and see if it's still going. Yeah, it is. Okay.
Isn't it strange that we thought that 2021 sucks? I'm so hoping for 2022, and it sucked even more.
You can have high hopes, but
Yeah.
you know, it only gets you so far.
Gotta have something to look forward to, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God. So we see a lot of things happening, and you also see a lot of things happening now with the supply chain disruption growing even bigger and bigger and bigger. And we see I don't know. I need to ask you one thing before I get into this question, but about the COVID pandemic. Have you all forgotten about it? Because
What
there's
was
a
it
war
now?
in.
What did
have
you
you-
call it?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
exactly.
It was a joke.
The United States is like there was no COVID.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it still lingers here and there.
You'll see some masked people once in a while.
Yeah, Cam and I just went to the city yesterday. When was it? 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Yeah, into thing that was in a theater hall, and I would bet maybe almost a quarter of people had
still had
masks
masks on.
on, and it's still a thing. But to be honest, it hasn't affected my life in the last 6 months, really. So, how about you guys over there?
No, but we never had masks or anything. Oh, I have masks all the time because
Well, yeah,
I like it because people, since we're in the opposite way from you guys during the pandemic, because we didn't have masks, so I would put on a mask to keep people away because they were scared, and that was a nice feeling.
That is very nice, man.
Yeah, no, but
American.
yeah, what strikes me is that looking at the news, it was all like COVID, and then it just quit, and it was
Yeah.
Ukraine,
it did.
Ukraine
Everybody got
all the
sick of
time.
it.
So it seems like someone knows that stupid people, or not stupid people, but people are stupid and they can only handle one crisis at a time. So let's switch focus.
But they need a crisis. They got to have a
Yeah.
crisis. So it's time to switch over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's again.
Ratings are falling. We got to go to something else.
That's the
Yeah.
thing with the news that I absolutely hate. You know. So everything's
That's why
sensationalized.
monkeypox came up this morning.
Yeah, probably.
They got that one in
War's
their-
getting a little old, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Talk
really
about-
though, the Ukraine thing, it feels like it's died down quite a bit
has.
in the past
and it's still
little bit.
destroying people's lives.
Yeah.
And we're like, what about this monkeypox?
Can we dig something up?
Yeah.
Seriously. There's a vaccine already out for it, and they're bringing it up.
I know. Polio's making a comeback, probably.
No, but what I wanted to get to is, so with all of these big things happening, and I think we should not count out the pandemic yet,
Yeah.
because I think it's still, well, it's affecting us because of the lockdowns in China in any way. So what would you recommend people who are not prepared at all right now? What should we do? What should
if you're
they
not
do?
prepared, I think you should get prepared. That's
That's a simple
there's my advice.
answer.
That's the way I'm gonna look at it. But yeah, I mean, it's just be smart, you know. With the economics the way they are, continue to think about that. Get that emergency savings. Get that budget. Understand that you need to have some cash on hand just in case. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of the basics. Make sure you have some food. Make sure you don't have to go to the grocery store every single day just to make it through that day. It's not a good way to live. You're just not, yeah, you got to start growing some potatoes on your deck, you know, if you haven't done that yet.
Go from a 2-ab to a 4-ab.
Exactly. Yeah.
Slowly.
It's all levels. It's levels. But and keep yourself healthy. You know, you got monkeypox, you got COVID, you got whatever. Staying healthy is super important. So think about that aspect. That's one thing. Not just people that aren't preppers, but preppers themselves. It gets overlooked really, really frequently. You have to stay healthy. You can't be 350 pounds with a breathing tube and bug out. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? So don't overlook that. It's the number one thing, really, when it comes down to it, that you should be worried about. Because if you're dead, doesn't matter how many potatoes you have.
You have a ton of water and food,
yeah,
and you're reliant on all these medicines.
Yeah.
Not going to go well.
It's not great. So I don't know. I don't know if
and
that
some
made any
medicines,
sense.
I mean, I understand people have the diabetics and
Sure,
stuff, but
yeah.
like just being healthy, being able to bug out, being able to carry your kid, your bags, your potatoes up into the mountains.
Yeah, I don't know, Cam. I mean, what would your advice be to someone who's not a prepper?
Self-reliance, just learning how to not be so dependent on the world that we live in. I think that's like the biggest thing. And whether that be learning skills by reading or getting your 2-week food supply and water supply or getting healthy, you know, fit, but being more self-reliant, you know, just being able to do things on your own without technology and learning, like experiencing those things, I think is one of the biggest things that you can do, because a lot of people are just living in the world that we live in and they don't think outside of that. It's like, go to work every day, drive my car, fill it up, get some groceries. I can get those groceries tomorrow, the things I want and need.
Yeah, thinking past 24 hours doesn't happen usually.
Preparing and experiencing, you know, just thinking about that is more than most people do. Thinking of not having those things and not being able to do that, like, what do you need to do to be comfortable in those scenarios? So,
yeah. Actually, I walked down in our cellar storage last weekend, and I often, you know, I do a round just to check what people have in the storage. And there's one storage which is kind of secret. It's my storage, which has food and water, but then no one else has anything at all. They have their skis, they have their winter wheels for the cars, and nothing else.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that gives me an idea of my neighbors, which makes me a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's not the best feeling, is it?
No, it's not. What are your recommendations, Patrick? Is it too late?
It's never too late.
No.
It's never too late.
Wise words.
Yes. There are some Swedish words. Inte rädd utan beredd. Be prepared, not afraid.
Yes.
It sounds better than Swedish.
I agree.
Rädd.
Well, ours is
Inte
be
rädd
prepared.
utan beredd.
Be prepared, not scared. That's kind of
Yes,
how we
that's
say
good.
it, right?
That's important. But is there anything you are afraid of about the things we talked about?
I'm afraid of the people around me that aren't prepared.
Yeah.
Because they're going to come to you or others, and it's going to hurt more. That's our biggest thing, is just like getting more people prepared so that we're all more comfortable and don't have to worry about somebody that's in panic mode. So
yeah, that's like Cam said, that's kind of one of the reasons we do the podcast, is trying to get as many people as possible to the preparedness mindset, and to do it in a way that you don't have to be Burt Gummer from Tremors. You can just be a normal guy that has 2 weeks of food and that is trying to stay healthy and that has some cash on hand. And somebody who's doing the bare minimum with prepping is 90% better than everybody else out there. So it is a scary thing thinking about all the people that are around you that can't get past a day without somebody, feeding them and that kind of thing.
They're going to try and trade you snow tires for potatoes because that's all they have.
And what's going to happen? You're eating fries and they're eating rubber. So,
I was thinking about something.
We have the same mission.
Yeah, we're the same mission. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But how do you think? Because in Sweden, me and Patrick, we have been talking about this for a long time, and we have also checked with experts in this matter. So how people actually react when there's something happening, and most of the people we talk to say that we'll come together and help each other, and sing songs, and we'll live a happy life together. But at the same time, we also talked with Fernando from the Modern Survivalist. I don't know if you know him. He's from Argentina.
Wow.
He paints a totally other picture. He said that in Argentina during the collapse, people were actually kidnapping kids just to get money and doing horrible things to each other. So what's your feeling when it comes to people in the US?
Yeah, I think it comes down to the severity of the situation. I think if the situation is maybe it's a bad snowstorm or something in your town, I think most of the time your town's going to come together and you're going to get through that snowstorm. You're going to do the things you need to do because they kind of know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. And if we come together, it's good for everybody. I think when it comes to a situation where there maybe isn't an end in sight and you start looking at the grocery store shelves being empty and financially people start to really feel it and they're not 100% sure where their next meal might be coming from, that's where I think things start to kind of disintegrate and you get into that disorder like Argentina maybe saw. That's where it scares me. I think most of the time in most situations people are going to come together and I've seen that happen before, right? But I think when it gets to a certain point, that's where all bets are off and that's what scares me, right? And I don't think Americans are different than anybody else. I think that's pretty much the human condition there,
And obviously the community you live in, like you're in the city, you don't make eye contact when you get on the bus or on so there's a disconnect there that doesn't exist in smaller communities. So obviously the small ones are going to get together. The city, you don't even want to look at that person.
Yeah, that's why I think the benefits, like Cam and I we live in kind of a small to mid-sized rural city, but we go to Walmart in town and you walk past people constantly. You're saying hi.
They're like, look at this rash. How do I need to do?
Yeah. Cam's getting asking
medical questions. I go in
constantly.
there all like in a hood and wear a mask so nobody can see who I am.
So I think there is a benefit to where you live or there's a detriment if you live in a city. It's one or the other.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I feel. I think it depends on the situation.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. I think people in your block, Martin, than I have in my little village.
Yeah, I do. And they don't make eye contact.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's just how those big areas are.
Yeah. And I mean, I can even meet a neighbor that I'm on good terms with, and that I speak with frequently. But when there is this, I'm not sure if he saw me, so I'm going to pick up my phone and pretend to look at it because I really don't I don't want to talk to people. So that's strange, and it rubs off on me too, because sometimes I'm just I don't want to talk to you. So I'm looking at the sky or something, and that's.
Hey, I'm there too. I'm that way a lot. Like I and when I go outside my house, I'm like avoiding my neighbor's eye contact for sure, and it has nothing to do. I just don't like them. I just don't like most people. So just what it's like. I like Cam, and that's about it. And most of the time, I don't even like him.
That's true.
Oh. Yeah, but I agree. The picture that Fernando was painting was actually during the entire collapse of Argentina, with the economic collapse, where people were, they didn't have their jobs, and inflation was like skyrocketing, and yeah. So maybe we'll see I don't hope we'll see that.
I know,
but maybe that has something to do with it.
2023.
I was in southern Brazil at that time, and would see a lot of the news coming over of just the chaos in Buenos Aires and stuff. It was crazy. But I don't know. Some communities, and I'm not saying some countries are more civilized, but like Brazil, it seemed that a little that way, that at any moment they were going to take advantage of another person. It was super weird.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you want to know anything about Sweden, or do you have any questions for us?
That's a good question.
I had a really random question. Like, you guys are probably more adult than I am, but I like to try different survival video games, and there's one called Generation Zero, and I think it's in Sweden, isn't it?
Yeah, and developed by a Swedish team. Yeah. So
the thing that was interesting about that movie, or that game to me, was there were like guns and stuff in households. That's not a possibility, right?
Well, that was actually
no, it's like 80s or something, huh?
Yeah.
Was it different then?
It was a quite nostalgic game, because it actually feels like Sweden in the 80s.
Wow.
I actually reviewed it for a blog.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And this is in the countryside, I would say maybe north of Sweden, in the northern part of Sweden. But you wouldn't find, maybe you would find a hunting rifle or something like that. But no, not the guns you find there in the game. How did you like that game?
I liked it. You don't normally see like a mech, overtake of things. And I thought that was pretty unique. So yeah, I liked it. What was your take on it?
Yeah, I liked it as well. It was a bit unbalanced, because
it was unbalanced.
I was playing alone.
The sound in it was really good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
that's funny. But it did
I want to go
like
back
Sweden.
to it, because I think they actually patched it several times, so I think it would be better now, I think.
Yeah, I heard there was some like patch or bug breaking issues. So
yeah,
that's all. That's the most important question.
Yeah, that was a great question.
So important to prepping. But I play survival. Like, I like different survival games just to kind of open my eyes to different scenarios and different topics on the podcast. So,
did you play This War of Mine?
Oh yes.
Yes.
That's a great one. That's
so much fun. The whole feel of that game was just so amazing. Yeah, like the sound design, the soundtrack, and just.
I still go back to it once in a while, just because it's pretty simple, and you can step away from it and come back to it. That's a
great way to get depressed really fast.
Yeah, you do, especially when you have like scavenged all the simple places. And you go into the inhabited places, and there's like old people that saying, "Don't take my stuff," and you're like, "But I need this stuff." It's so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's so funny. That game is that's not funny, but it's weird. I felt that. I brought it back, and I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I bring back something to make a plate of food for my group when I took it from these old people? It really made you think of, wow, if it was that way, would you
be tough,
starve yourself, or take those? I don't know you. Good luck. Yeah, it's funny. I go back to that game once in a while.
Yeah.
Patrick doesn't play any games.
Not. I read books.
I
read books.
I read books too. I'm with you.
Yeah, that's better use of time.
Well, I don't know. Okay, let's see. Yes, it in a sense it is a better use of your time. But if playing games is something you enjoy, it's a stress relief, it's fun. I think it's time well spent.
Yes.
All right.
But yes, technically reading is better.
Yeah,
With ya,
probably.
Patrick.
I'm a teacher. That's
Yeah.
That's yeah.
yes.
I don't think we don't have any more questions. If you guys don't have any other,
I don't think so. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I think that's it. Yeah. That
Yeah.
was my big important question.
Yeah.
yeah, happy to. We should play sometime.
Yeah, I think that'd be
See.
awesome.
Yeah, you definitely should. That'd be cool.
I know. It'd be way cool.
All right,
Patrick, do you have a console, or as we call it, an entertainment system?
entertainment system. Do you,
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
He has one.
You can just watch the stream and enjoy
Yes.
it.
Absolutely.
While he's reading a book on the side, getting smarter than all of us.
I'll turn it on, but I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
All right,
Cool.
it's been a
Yeah.
real pleasure having you here.
Thanks for
Thank you
having
so
us, man.
much,
Anytime.
and I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
We did.
We did.
Yeah.
Highlight of the day by far.
Yeah.
Yay!
It'd be
Yes.
awesome if we weren't a whole ocean
I know.
apart and could meet up somewhere.
I really
Yeah.
wish your podcasts were in English so I could really listen. I don't get much out of it. So
My Swedish is rusty.
yeah,
But this one is.
yeah. This one
This
is,
episode is.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go back and
I'll
listen
keep
to this
watching-
one
I'll
again.
keep re-listening to it.
And the podcast with Fernando is in
Yeah,
English.
Yes.
that's an
And
English.
Prepping
Is it really?
2.0. Yes.
Yeah, I'm
and Prepping
interested to check that
2.0.
one out because South America's an interesting place.
Yeah, it is. So we need to come up with something for you guys to say in Swedish. Patrick, do you have any idea?
Nothing at all. No.
Maybe something about potatoes.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do
Okay.
it. Who wants to try?
Cam definitely.
I'll do
wants
it.
to
I'll try it.
Okay. So it's 2 sentences. Short words.
Okay.
Odla potatis.
Odla potatis.
Yes. Akta dig för ryssen.
Akta dig för ryssen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
What did
you
you just say?
He said, plant potatoes and beware of the Russian.
Nice.
What's Russian in Swedish? Or Russia?
Ryssen.
Oh, you're saying
Russian.
That's the
Okay.
Russians. Ryssen.
Russian. Awesome.
Awesome.
Seriously,
and
that was it was great. Thank you.
It was. And I think we'll just stop here. Thank you
Okay.
for the guys that have been hanging out with us today. Thank you for the 5 questions. Just kidding.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Thank you for the questions and take care. Bye-bye.